I don't think it brings more scrutiny. I think it certainly brings more attention and curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
How could it not? Especially because it's a new chapter for Netflix as well from the CPG side. And really, when you link it to the Netflix series with Love, Meghan, it is where content and commerce can meet in a really unique way. So I think with season 2 coming up, we've been able to really maximize that opportunity also and look at what I'm making in season 2 and see that reflected and complementary in what the brand has an offering.
And how are you really thinking about that? Because obviously the brand will live in between the show. It's going to live while the show, if the show doesn't continue, it will just, I'm assuming that the brand just continues to grow.
Of course.
So how are you actually thinking about that partnership? Because I know when I started, that initial partnership that you do in business, you can get it really right, you can get it really wrong. God knows I got it wrong enough times. Oh my good. Yeah, because you know what? Certainly for me, there was such a sense of desperation to just get something done that the first person that was like, hey, we believe in you. I was like, great, me too, let's go.
Oh,
and there were parts of it that were good and parts of it that, let's say I had to learn from a little bit. But when you look at this partnership, because it is pretty untraditional in that way, right? You're launching a brand with your content partner. So I wonder where does the brand live? How are you working together? Who does what? Is that all,
Let's nip this one in the bud right now, before the haters start their Netflix downgraded Meghan and Harry parade. First, this wasn't about failing. This wasn't Netflix quietly pushing them out the door. This was a company-wide restructuring that's hit multiple high-profile names. It's not Netflix is done with them. It's just a leaner, more flexible setup that studios are using across the board. And under this so-called downgrade, Meghan and Harry are still booked and busy. Ongoing collaborations tied to Meghan's as ever lifestyle brand. That's not a dead partnership. That's a working, producing slate.
If I'm understanding it correctly, it doesn't mean that they cannot go to other streamers and pitch content. And I also think that would allow Archewell to maintain the intellectual property, the content, which is a good thing. Not to mention the fact that Netflix is moving away from all-encompassing agreements. This also happened last year with the Obama's production company, Higher Ground. Netflix transitioned away from an exclusive, all-encompassing, big dollar deal to a first look deal. I also reckon that the success of Meghan's cooking show, which although it didn't break the top 300, was Netflix's most watched cooking show. Plus the deal that they have with As Ever and products and production of that. I'm not surprised that we're seeing a new deal that includes a Christmas special with Love, Meghan. Second season's coming out soon.
So, can we all just be real now and admit that this is not, nor has it ever been, about the show? This is about the fact that Meghan gets to live in that soft, luxurious, Nancy Myers-coded life while still being Black, while still having ties to British nobility and royal family. Oh my gosh, and the best part, the people who hate her the most, the UK media, royalist stands, Bethany Frankel. Y'all are literally putting coins directly into her pocket. Do y'all know that y'all actually watched Netflix into greenlighting the second series of her show? Well done.
This show right here, yes, this show that's coming out next week on March the 4th will be #1. It cannot deal with the fact that the narrative now is going to be Meghan has been successful without that family.
I haven't seen, though, is anyone take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Really this next phase for Harry and Meghan. He makes something, wears something, it sells. And these new deals like leaving Spotify for Lemonada Media, a first look deal, which we don't know what it's worth. The whole idea of if Harry and Meghan can survive without quote unquote trading in on the royal family or talking about the royal family, they're doing it. Netflix isn't making like a sympathy deal with Meghan. Plus they believe in her products, As Ever, her line, and they've invested in that and they are working with her on that.
She is so smart and business savvy. She talks about her business partnership with Netflix and the development process and wanting to really expand upon her As Ever brand, what goes on in Meghan's personal life, and just make it a global enterprise. And the language Meghan uses, she's so smart and business savvy, it's great.